Hello, my name is Michael Hoffer and I am the developer of VRL-Studio, which is a visual programming environment. Currently it uses Swing for the user interface, but we are completely switching over to JavaFX. And this application you see here, called VPlot, is a preview of what you can expect from the upcoming JavaFX-based user interface for VRL-Studio. And the visual programming in VRL-Studio is workflow-based, so you can create data and control flows and combine it to a complete workflow. And this is why we chose this kind of user interface for this function plotter here. The special thing about VPlot is that it is the first OpenJDK and OpenJFX 8 application that is available in the Mac App Store. So if we talk about Java 8 or JavaFX 8, this is not just a theoretical discussion of some features that might be released in the far away future. This is actually all available today. I mean, this is what I tried with VPlot to check out whether the technology that has been open sourced is stable enough to be, the foundation, the runtime of an application that can be released. And actually VPlot works quite well on lots of different computers. It works on Retina notebooks, it works on iMacs and all different kind of Mac computers. We also tried it on Windows and Linux. So OpenJDK feels really stable, and also OpenJFX is a really nice project, and it's actually a complete open source version of the upcoming JavaFX 8 release. Okay, now let's start the application. Here you see the 2D input and 3D input, and then we have a 2D plotter and 3D plotter, and this nice selection window. First, let me close this info window. Yeah, we can close it. If I create a connection between the input 2D and the 2D plotter window, VPlot will create a nice line chart. For that, it utilizes the charting API that comes with JavaFX. And here I can change the parameter A, and you see a nicely animated plot. This was all available in JavaFX 2, but now comes something interesting, which is the 3D plotter, which was not available and which is a completely new feature. As before, create a connection, and you see a very nice 3D visualization of this function here. What we did here is not integrating some OpenGL window. This is just displaying another type of JavaFX scene graph node. JavaFX has been extended to also allow or support 3D meshes and primitives, and this is really a very nice feature and very important for me, because the integration work that I had to do to integrate 3D content into Swing, this was very hard to do, and in JavaFX you get it for free. I mean, that's really huge. And the interesting thing is that 3D nodes share the same API as 2D nodes. They just extend them. And this comes in very handy for mouse listeners, for example. So I can use just the dragging event, for example. Something that's really special is that JavaFX integrates 3D content into the scene graph. And what I really like about the implementation is that 3D nodes are just 2D nodes with some extra API. So you can use mouse listeners as you expected from buttons or other controls. So it's very easy to implement this kind of rotation behavior and so on. So as before, we can change this parameter A, and you see how fast and nice this visualization will be updated. So, and then we see this nice selection window here that we use to display specific function values. And for that, we use a technique called array picking. And this is also implemented in JavaFX. So you don't have to do complex computations where the mouse pointer intersects with the geometry. Actually, mouse events just do it for you. So I can right-click here, for example, and I expect a value near 1. Yeah, it actually is. And I can pick somewhere else. Here we get -1. And what you see here is another good example how well 2D and 3D work together, because this is just a regular circle, just a shape that is animated, and we just change its position in space. So we just use the third coordinate that it was also available in JavaFX 2. So this is, yeah, not surprising and feels really easy to do. And if you want to know more about how I implemented this 3D plotter, then check out my Java 1 tutorial resources. Yeah, actually I gave a tutorial on scientific visualization with JavaFX 8, and this plotter was part of the demonstration. Some things I should mention is this nice selection window here contains this this LCD display created by Garrett Grunwald. He does really nice, very beautiful looking controls. You should check out his library called Enso, where he has also a lot of other different controls that might be useful. This window control is something that it got me started with JavaFX, because roughly 1 year ago I first tried JavaFX and tried to implement kind of a window control so that we could use internal frames, as you would call it in Swing. And there was no such implementation, at least I didn't find one. And then I started to create this windowing control, and based on that, a workflow library called VWorkflows, which is all available on my webpage and GitHub. And the very nice thing I'd like to mention is that if you start on developing stuff, people really give feedback. So I got a lot of feedback from the JavaFX community, and it really feels so nice to be part of the JavaFX developer community. There's a lot going on, and it's really worth trying JavaFX, and especially JavaFX 8, because this is the release of JavaFX that I would think is stable enough and has enough features to create almost any kind of graphical application you can imagine. So what's also special about this is that I can zoom, actually. So if I drag a window and increase the the bounding box of the whole workflow, then we just zoom out. And this is something that's almost trivial to implement in JavaFX, and it's actually a lot of pain to do that in Swing. So there are lots of reasons why you should check this out. And easiest thing to do is to just go to the Mac App Store, download VPlot, and you could also go to the JavaFX community page and see lots of different interesting blog posts and videos, and you will soon find interesting projects you could use for starting your exploration of the whole framework. Okay, now apart from the 3D integration, which is personally for me the most important thing that was added to JavaFX, I also really like the fact that the Java language got syntax improvements, and significant improvements that are not just syntactic sugar. It also will allow the JVM and all the libraries to be more efficient. And the easiest way to try that out is by installing Java 8, opening NetBeans 7.4, and if you create a new JavaFX application and choose JDK 8 when you create the project, then you get this basic Hello World example, and here you see this event handler. And surprisingly, NetBeans says, okay, there's a better way to do that. And if I click here, then NetBeans suggests using lambdas. And the great thing is, NetBeans does it for us. So that's how lambdas look like in Java 8. And the great thing about how well NetBeans understands Java 8 is that it's really a guide to all these features, because when you start with lambdas, then you probably don't know the syntax, or you have read about it but you are not sure. And actually, you just don't worry. I mean, you can just implement it as you were expecting with anonymous classes, and then NetBeans tells you, okay, I'm going to transform that to a lambda expression for you. And there's a lot more things like the new Stream API and lots of different places where Java has been improved. So I'm really positive about the velocity in the development, and everything feels just very nice, and especially the fact that you can use OpenJDK 8, because this is something I was worrying a bit. When can I use Java 8? And I felt a bit sad when Oracle skipped the September release and said, okay, we have to skip it, and we have to release in 2014. But then I just tried OpenJDK, compiled it, and then I compiled OpenJFX, and everything was nice again, because I saw, okay, it actually doesn't matter when they are going to release. We can release whenever we like. So this is a really huge thing, because you get it all for free. You get access to the complete source code. You can dig as deep into the APIs as you like and see, okay, how do they do that? So the educational value is unmeasurable. I mean, for me, this means a lot, and that's why I switched completely to Java 8. And I'm skipping Java 7 actually, because I used Java 6 before, and I really encourage you, if you create new applications, then do it with Java 8. You will miss a lot of functionality, especially for JavaFX related things. Okay, so I told you about VRL-Studio, and I'd like to just give you a very brief introduction what VRL-Studio is. And therefore, we just click on the VPlot support page in the Mac App Store. VRL-Studio is a very powerful visual IDE. Actually, it combines visual programming and text-based programming. And it takes a completely different approach than you normally expect from an IDE. What it actually does is it gives you a visual workspace, also called canvas. And in this canvas, you can create classes by writing source code, and you can instantiate those classes and work with them right away without starting a new process. So VRL-Studio will be extended while it is running. So this is fascinating technology, and it's really well possible on the JVM, and it's one of the main reasons why we chose the JVM as platform. And for the programming, we use the language Groovy, which is in many ways compatible to Java. So this is one of the reasons why we choose it. And also it has very nice additional features. So VRL-Studio is completely swing-based at the moment. And we are trying to switch to JavaFX instead. I showed you the VPlot example already, so you could see how really nice a JavaFX interface can look like with a zooming 3D integration and all the media stuff that I didn't show you so far. Okay, but now VRL-Studio. So here is a so-called canvas, and we are adding source code to it. First, a very simple class that just provides one method called hello. And to demonstrate what VRL-Studio is all about, we just compile it and we create a visual instance by just clicking create instance. And this is the cool thing about it, that you have an instance visual representation of the source code you see here. So this is an instance somewhere in the JVM heap. So if I click invoke, I get this nice hello world message, and you can interact with it even after changing the source code. So I could type in something like Java rocks, compile, and if I click invoke again, so then you see that the class here and even the instance has changed. So this is a very nice feature. But we can do a lot more. Let's try another example. We try an add integers example where we have just one add method that takes two parameters, a and b, and we return the sum of it. I click compile, create instance, and here we go. We have a user interface. We can type in numbers, and then we click invoke, and you see it instantly gives us the result. Okay, and now this is all text-based programming actually, but we can do visual programming by creating multiple instances and then defining data flows, for example, between the components, like so. If I click invoke again, then this method gets executed. If I change the values here, you will see the results here are deleted because they don't match the inputs anymore. If I click invoke here, then both components will be evaluated. So that's a very nice thing. I won't go into detail, but if you know something about writing user interfaces, and if you've used ordinary IDEs, then you will see how different this approach is. Maybe let me show you one more example where you see how powerful visual programming and also this visual reflection is, which is where the name VRL comes from. It's called Visual Reflection Library. In this source code here, we have one method called choose. It takes 3 arguments RGB, all 3 integers, and we have a so-called paraminfo, and we request a slider instead of an input field. And we create a color object that will be returned later. If I click compile now and create instance, here you see a color chooser. So I could do something like red 255, click invoke, and you see the result is red. I can mix the color channels and get different results. And that's a really powerful example, because writing such a color chooser involves event handling, and yeah, you have to know something about the UI toolkit you use for that kind of things, and obviously not just in 10-15 lines of code. And actually it's just we return a new color object. That's all we do. Everything else is just annotation and some serialization stuff so that we can save the state of the objects. And also VRL-Studio is interesting as it is now, even though we use Swing. And this is because this class here has nothing to do, really nothing, with the Swing implementation. You just see we have a color chooser class, it has this method, and it wants a slider as parameter. So there's no mixing UI and model and control and so on. This is something that happens a lot if you teach students Java, for example, and then they find it very easy to write UI stuff, and then they mix everything because it's so easy. And here it just doesn't happen because the user interface will be generated automatically. And this class will be completely compatible with a new VRL-Studio release based on JavaFX. So please check out the examples on our webpage, and you can really use it for teaching and prototyping. So we have great success in teaching Java with VRL-Studio. You don't have to know where you store your files. You don't have to know about compiler settings and all that kind of things. We can teach algorithms. That's a really important part for us. And on the webpage we have some examples that involve 2D and 3D plotting and so on. And we have a lot more actually, which is not public, but if you're interested, then please check it out. So, my summary. Yeah, I'm really excited about JavaFX and OpenJDK. Actually, I mean OpenJFX and OpenJDK, because this really shows that the whole source code is available and it's in good shape. So it is a platform that you can really consider for high quality applications, and I actually do, and the VPlot application was an example for that. So thanks a lot for watching the video. Thanks to the JavaFX community for the great support and all the fun we have together. Yeah, so I hope to see you next time.